A very good evening, viewers. Here we are with an all-new episode of Women's World on Northeast Live, the show where women's voices come alive. They say that a good teacher is like a candle. It consumes itself to light the way for others. And I'm sure you all agree to this, as somewhere, somehow, teachers have played a pivotal role in shaping each one of us. So on today's episode, we will be interacting with three very experienced academicians. In the studio, I have with me Dr. Geeta Dattabarua, Principal of the Srimanta Shankar Academy Senior Secondary School, Ms. Manjula Devi, a retired teacher from Kendra Vidyalaya, and Ms. Anita Verma Bhattarai, Headmistress of Sanskriti, the Gurukul School. So a very good evening, all lovely ladies. Thank you so much for joining us on Women's World. It's such a privilege to have you. I actually feel like I've been taken back in time and I'm sitting in a classroom. And I'm sure we're going to be having such an interesting time. We'll learn so much from this interaction. So I think my first question would be to Ms. Geeta. You know, teaching is a very honorable profession and it comes with a lot of respect and responsibility. So we'd like to know what attracted you so much towards this field.
Teaching is considered to be the most noble profession.
Right.
And teachers are creating other teachers, doctors, engineers, politicians, and all the professions. They do need teachers. And the first teacher, you know, is the mother.
Yes.
For every child. And actually, you had asked me how I do enter this particular profession.
Yes.
Okay. By nature, we do consider, all the ladies, we do consider as teachers. Okay?
Right.
All the mothers are teachers. I entered this particular profession in the year 1996. And yes, because of love for the children had dragged me to this particular profession. And one more reason is there, I got married a bit early and I didn't have had any chance to think of some other things, other profession. And teaching attracted me most, that is why.
And I mean, leaving the second option aside, I think you would have picked this no matter what.
On the second option, actually, I had worked as WAO in LIC. And later on, when I entered this particular profession, actually, you can consider me as the happiest person. Okay. Staying with the young ones are keeping us also young.
Right, that's very true. And I think when your passion becomes your profession.
Yeah, it's a passion. Whenever a person enters this particular profession, it used to keep them pulling, not allowing them to go back to any other profession.
Right.
Few days back, you have seen Mukesh Saha. Yes, he's going back to teach mathematics.
Right.
Yes, so it is the noblest of all profession, and all the teachers I know, those who are in this profession at present, are really leading a very, very happy life.
Right.
Very happy life.
Though
there are some problems, but the children, they do keep us very happy because they are considered to be the best of the humanity. When they do grow up, they do develop certain other, there may be some possibilities that they may develop certain other unwanted things. Right. But during this formal education, they are the purest breed of Homo sapiens, the humankind.
Right, and I can actually see the glow on your face because you're a teacher. It really shows that you're enjoying the work that you're doing. Yeah. I'd also like to know from Ms. Manjula right now, you know, how did your journey begin and why did you step into this teaching profession?
Actually, frankly speaking, I belong to a teaching family.
All right.
My mother was also a teacher. My aunts, two of my aunts were also teachers. So, I think I have been born to be a teacher and it is my passion. Still, after my retirement also, I keep in touch with my children. So they are keeping me younger, what I should be now.
Right.
I think, whatever I think.
Right.
So only because of the love to the children, and it became my passion, and I could not leave and go to any other jobs.
Right. And like they say, once a teacher, always a teacher. I think it doesn't matter whether you're still teaching or retired, but it stays with you. All right. So, Miss Anita, you're teaching in Sanskriti, the Gurukul, which is the only day boarding school in the Northeast. So, again, a very interesting venture that you've taken up. And we'd just like to know, how did this idea even come in, you know, to start something as unique as this? And what do you like the most about your profession?
See, I'm not a teacher by choice. It's basically by chance. I was preparing for my MBA, and then that is where I joined Faculty Higher Secondary School. And then after 1.5 years, I got an opportunity to work with Sanskrit Gurukul School. I'm the founder educator of the school. It's an interesting place to work. The motto of the school is endless possibilities. So that is where I realized, okay, this is the profession which I can take it forward. Because teaching is one profession, we all teach, a lot of things we do. And what happens is, there are a lot of dropouts every year. We all know the reason, maybe poor attendance, maybe negative approach to teaching, or maybe poverty, so many things. But there's one thing which is not discussed, or maybe rarely discussed, is the human values, the values of human relationship. That is what we teach at Sanskriti. Okay. That is what helps us to connect with the students. That is what I started developing the interest. So where we try to make teaching learning process a joy for the students, because we believe that educators are born to make a difference in someone else's life.
Right, absolutely.
And that is where I'm in this organization. It's a unique place, wonderful people to work with. And the founder of the school, Mr. Ashutosh Agarwal, he's the secretary of the school, is a wonderful person to work with. Where we have learned that there's so many things which you can really do with the kids. So that is where I am, and let's see what happens next.
Right, I think that's a lovely motto, endless possibilities, yes. And I think every school should really inculcate that in children. And like you said, you know, that I think teachers play such an important role, because you are shaping the future generation. What the world is going to look like depends on how the teachers groom the Gen X. So they play a very integral part in what the society turns out to be like. So I've clearly seen that the three of you have had a lot of experience in this field. Ma'am, you've been teaching for about 22 years, about 34 years there, and almost 2 decades for you as well. So definitely you've seen how the classroom scenario has changed over the years. You've seen it from the 90s to right now. You know, so I'd like to know from you, first of all, what would you say has been some of the positive and some of the negative changes in the classroom scenario?
In the classroom, during the curricular transition, you were asking?
Right, I think overall, you can give us an overall idea
overall,
of the
about a comment on the formal education.
Formal education, the type of students also, what are the new challenges that you're facing today? I think that we'd also like to know.
New challenges, actually, children are children.
Right.
What were they 10 years, 15 years back? Are they now also?
Okay.
But these demons, I call them demons, time monster, the mobile.
Okay,
yes,
right.
It's creating lots of problem for the young kids also, because they are to learn through the regular curricular transition within the 4 walls of the classroom, the same things that were being taught 10, 15, 20 years back, isn't it? And now they are getting distracted by this particular time monster. I do consider the mobiles, right, the internet connection, the social network. So at present, the students, I do consider that they are also facing lots of problems.
Okay, what kind of problems are we
talking? Because these are very interesting things, no? They do not get time or do not get the opportunity to play in the open playground.
Right.
Parents usually stay in flats. As a result, they are being given mobiles and other opportunities to play with from a very early age.
Right, absolutely. I think right now we see a 5-year-old knowing how to operate an iPad. They're already very comfortable with technology.
Yes, forget about 5-year-old, a 5-month-old also being feeded.
Okay.
Yes, giving a mobile to the particular
right, that is
infant's
absolutely
hand.
a matter of concern.
Yes, so they get habituated using all these things. when they are being asked to learn the course, the content, we have observed that for a class 1 student, when we teach them, give them the abstract idea A, B, C, D to make them aware about this particular language, then they are to learn the regional language, the national language, Hindi and Ahomia. They are to learn mathematics. They are to learn social science. So many things we do teach them, and they get confused. You just think, if we are being taught now Chinese or Japanese, we will find it very difficult to understand.
Right, absolutely.
Isn't it? We do teach them this is A for apple. Then the Ahomia teacher will enter the classroom, this is O. Okay? Then the Hindi teacher will show them this is A.
Oh, right.
Then the mathematics teachers will teach them this is 1, 2, 3, 4. All these are abstract things for them. We cannot understand. Right. A 5-year-old or 6-year-old, for them everything comes as very new. Okay? And they had the concrete pleasure, the mobile, the social network, all these things are there. The, one game is also there. No? So they do like to keep themselves engrossed with all these things.
Right, so techno-savvy children.
Yes, and in the name of this playing with these things, they do develop some unwanted idea also. Like if we see and put a ball on this particular table, we know that the ball will roll down. But in the comic films or in the different play modes, they will see that the ball will come back again after reaching the edge.
Right.
So they do develop a wrong idea.
Wrong idea, right. And what about Miss Anita? Have you also faced a similar situation where you feel like the cell phones have become a major problem in this day and age for children?
See, Sonia, you cannot get rid of all these. The generation is such that you cannot get rid of technology.
Right.
It may happen the kids who are in toddlers right now, by the time they appear for boards exam may be online. You never know, after 15 years or 20 years, there may not be a pen and paper exam. I'm not sure, I'm just giving you an abstract
what
thing.
the future could look like.
So you cannot get rid of gadgets. That will always be there. The only thing as an educators or as a parent at home, we need to monitor. Like in our school, we do a lot of work on technology where students are given research work to do at home. They're supposed to do research-based studies. They come back to school. We have a tool which we use as a MindSpark, where they're supposed to do worksheets at home, which is online. Because we want to train them, because the world is such.
Absolutely.
You cannot just say that a child is using a tablet or a laptop at home as something which they should not. Yes, it has to be monitored, both by the educators in school, parents at home, and because generation is such.
Right. Yes. Very true. It's become a necessary evil, and definitely we are moving towards a digital world. So like you've said, we cannot avoid it. We can't call it an, can't say that children should not be using it, but we need to monitor how they use it. So again, that would bring me to my next question. I'd like to ask Ms. Manjula there, that schools are using a lot of e-learning, there is e-education, projections in school. So, I mean, how has technology helped then? We've already heard from ma'am that it has become a problem, definitely, because children are a little distracted, and because it's a concrete thing to play with, they find it more attractive than lessons in school. But then again, has technology helped also to a very great extent in the education system?
Absolutely. We cannot leave the technological world at present. It is not possible for anybody. We have to teach in the school with the technological, digitally, or e-learning is very much required in the school. We have to teach. We have been trained, and for that. Then again, still, teaching in the classroom is different, and e-learning is totally different. E-learning, students, suppose in a classroom they are doing, that is different. At the monitoring of the student, they are doing that is different. In Kendriya Vidyalayas now in class 8 also, I think tablet is provided by the government. So, but what they are observing there, that has to be monitored by the teacher in the classroom. But at home, what they do, what they are watching, what they are playing, what they are doing, that should be the parents' concern.
Okay.
That should be the parents' concern. Right. On the other hand also, although we cannot avoid e-learning, but e-learning makes the students isolated. They do themselves only, isolatedly, na?
Right.
Then But in a classroom teaching, they can interact, they can ask about their queries, they can interact with their group, peer groups, or in the small groups made by the teachers. Everything that is there become mentally and physically active.
Right.
So I cannot say, I do not say that e-learning is not necessary, but totally dependence on the e-learning is not favorable for the
Okay, so we
students.
cannot totally depend on it because it
Not
makes the child
yeah,
isolated.
yeah.
And I think we have seen that. So, I mean, the best thing to do here would say that it has its pros and cons, and we have to strike a
Yeah.
proper balance. So, viewers, we will be getting into a more detailed discussion about the classroom scenario, about our education system. But right now, before we get into all of that, it's time to slip into a quick break. But lots more coming up on the other side of Women's World. So, stay with us. Welcome back, viewers. I'm still in conversation with three extremely experienced teachers and academicians, and we've learned so much about how the classroom scenario is changing, how good or bad is technology. That's something we spoke of as well. So now another very interesting question that I'd like to ask the three of you. One thing I've noticed, and I think many people have noticed, is that when you look at the teachers, or especially the primary level teachers, we see a lot of women in this particular profession. When it comes to dealing with kindergarten children, it's mostly women who get into this particular field. So why do you think this sort of a pattern exists?
So you observe that most of the teaching posts are being occupied by ladies
Especially in the
teachers.
primary schools.
A primary school. Yes, it is true even to the college level, university level.
Right.
It's true. And I have already told you that the ladies are born teachers.
All right.
They are
Ladies
born teachers. They do get attracted to this particular profession, and it becomes a passion for them, and they do manage their family, and they do carry the other responsibilities properly if they are in this particular profession. Even in this modern time also, the family members, they do prefer their daughters, their daughter-in-laws to be in this particular profession.
Right. That is something that I've experienced personally as well, where everybody will come and tell me, why don't you become a teacher? It's the most, like you said, noble profession.
Yes, certain things, the mindset has not been changed till now.
Right.
And a girl, you are not quite young. When you will be married, you will come to know how many responsibilities will be vested on you.
Absolutely.
Isn't
But then
it?
again, is this a good thing or a bad thing? I'd like to know from the two of you.
No, it's a good thing. It's a good thing.
Right.
All the ladies, you just see, I got married at the age of 18. Okay, I looked after my family, helped my husband in different, to carry on his responsibilities. And at present, I'm really leading a very happy life, being with my school, Srimanta Shankar Academy.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
So that's your personal opinion on why, because women are born
Yes,
teachers.
I know. I consider other young girls, ladies, making the choice of this particular, taking up this particular profession.
Right.
Yes, it is in their blood, I hope.
It is in their blood.
Blood,
Okay, do you
I hope.
agree with this,
Isn't
Ms.
it?
Anita? Do you agree that it's a very convenient profession because it helps you maintain a good professional and personal life? Do you agree with that?
See, Sonia, first thing is teaching. We should not take teaching as a profession where you cannot do anything else, so you are a teacher. It's not about maintaining a personal and professional life.
Right.
Teaching as a profession is more difficult than any other profession. In any other profession, maybe you can switch on and switch off. In teaching, you can't. A lot of things to do it.
Right.
Like when you're saying kindergarten, yes, kindergarten, we have most of the women who are there in kindergarten. Maybe it's easy to connect. Being a female, being a woman, it's easy to connect. And maybe you're patient. We are more patient. No offense to male people, but it's easy to connect basically. Once one of my colleagues told me, I'm not here to like kids. I'm here to teach the syllabus. So I come, I teach, I give the learning, they take the learning, and the day is closed. But it's not like that. Then I told my colleague, kids, they don't learn if they don't like you. And for the females, it's easy to build that connection.
A personal rapport.
connection is built.
A rapport with the students.
So with the kids. Yes, in the senior school, if you see nowadays, even males are taking this profession because no longer, like if you don't have anything to do, like when our mothers or maybe our grandparents, if you don't have anything else to do, you can be a teacher.
Right.
But it's nothing like that in today's world.
And I think
That's
we
what
need
I
to
feel.
change that. If there are people who feel that way, we need to make them know that this profession requires a lot of commitment.
Yes.
Like you said, there is no switch on and switch off button in this particular field, and it's not a profession.
Yes, you have to be a nurse.
It is a family-friendly profession. Family-friendly.
Yes, family-friendly profession.
Yeah. That is one of the main reasons.
Yes.
Now, when we say family-friendly, if you can just elaborate a little more on that.
Family-friendly, that means the ladies are always can give more affection. I don't say that gents cannot. Nowadays, fathers can also give equally affection. Suppose in olden days, the fathers were more strict, more reserved in their houses. But nowadays, it is not like that. I think, na. She is from the new generation. She will know better than us. Then still, the corner, whatever a woman has for their children, for her children, is different from a male.
Right.
Yes.
I think we'll be talking a little more.
As a woman can take care of the family, she can manage, she can take care of the children in the school also.
Right.
Yes.
That is why I am telling it a family-friendly profession.
A family-friendly profession, and the way a female would handle the students and the way a male would, there are quite a few differences in the way they manage the students. We'll be talking a little more about that in details as well. But right now, on a lighter note, I'd like to know from the three of you, what was your first classroom experience like when you stepped in, as a teacher for the first time? You've always been on the other side as a student, and so when you entered the classroom as a teacher for the first time, was it a little nerve-wracking? Did you get nervous? What was it like, the first experience?
Sonia, I do remember my first day in the school because I stayed back at home for long 6 years doing only household work, not getting any exposure to the outside world. When I was being asked to take a class in class 1 in 1996 on 25th January, and I was appointed as an Ohomia teacher there, and I entered the classroom. I never used the blackboard. He used blackboard earlier. I took the chalk and went to the board and wrote there a big O covering the whole blackboard. Then all the students shouted, "Oh my God, such a big O." Okay, then I looked back to them. I thought I did something wrong. Then I started interacting with them, telling them, most probably I started with them with a story. And a very friendly situation created. I have already told you that it is in our blood.
Right.
Okay? Initially, in the first minute, I was very, very much nervous. Okay, but within 30 seconds or 1 minute, when I look into the faces of the young ones, their sparkling eyes, I got hold and started telling a story to them. So from that moment till today, the same bond I do feel with the students. Right. Even my colleagues also, the teachers, they do consider me as their mother. Okay. And the students also. Most of the students and their parents also used to tell me that they do consider me as their own mother.
All right.
And this is my first experience, and with that, I grew to this particular stage.
And I think what's lovely is that apart from your students, you were also growing every day with your students.
Yeah, certainly. I try my best to learn a new thing every day. You just see, I was teaching Ohomia for 15 years, and I'm CBSE convener for this particular subject. Okay, duly appointed by the chairman CBSE. And in an English medium school at present, I am managing as the principal. If I'm not growing or not grooming myself up, I could not have managed the school for last 5-6 months here.
Okay. So I think to be a good teacher, you need to be a good learner first.
Yeah. Without learning new things regularly, repeatedly, and without knowing the psychology of the child, you cannot become a good teacher. There may be lots of technologies, lots of other things.
Right.
And students, we are supposed to motivate them to become good human beings.
Absolutely.
3 things, actually, can I tell?
Yes, please carry on.
3 things at present, I hope, is creating problem. The first is aimlessness. Okay. Second one is lethargicness. Third one is addiction. E-learning is good, technology is good, but getting addicted to it is creating problem.
Absolutely. I think any sort of addiction is harmful.
Yes.
Right, and we'll get into that, ma'am, a little more.
Yeah.
But right now, I'll also like to know from Ms. Anita and Ms. Manjula, what was your first day at school like?
Yeah, I should share or not. It was a very funny day. Like, I just passed out from my college and
Right.
I'm having a background of mathematics, so I wanted to teach maths. But the demo was taken for social studies. And
Okay.
principal herself, then principal of our school herself, she was an educator of social studies. So she told me, it's okay, the simple social studies of class 3, how much you need to know. You can please go on.
You can manage.
And I started Constitution of India and I was so excited, completed everything. And then later I realized when I saw the book, everything I told in the class was not I was supposed to. Then I went and told her, ma'am, you know, you should have told me, you should have corrected me. She said, you were so excited, Anita, in the classroom, I could not stop you. It's okay. So next day I had to go to the class and I told my students, kids, you know, I'm really very sorry, you know,
Right.
this is not my subject. They said, ma'am, that's okay, ma'am. You were so excited, so we were so happy attending your class. It's okay if you're wrong in 1 or 2 places, we will sort it out.
Okay.
That is what my first experience was. And then eventually I started
And did
teaching
you
maths.
make it through that interview?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm sure that the students love it when the teachers are enthusiastic about what they do. And what about Ms. Manjula? What was your first day at work like?
Actually, it is a very long back now I joined.
Right.
Still a little bit difficult to remember.
But do you remember the feeling, if not the...
Still, actually, then I was a girl like you when I joined KB.
Right, very young then.
And KB was so strict and workload was very, there was a very high workload in comparison to other schools at that time also. So, after joining the KB, I didn't find to continue any other studies, etc. And on the very first day, what happened, the principal gave me the register. I joined in the second half. Actually, that time, we had the interview in Guwahati for the appointment. I joined in KB Nagaon at first, but I had to appear interview at Guwahati KB. KB, that was KB Khanapara was KB Ambari at that time.
Okay.
Then we had to appear for interview here, then joined in KB Nagaon. Then principal simply gave me the register of class 9 and go to the class. That's what that was my first experience. I went to the class 9 and then I was also 9 or 10, I exactly do not remember. I was also a girl. I don't know, but still I didn't feel that they were also grown-up children. Right. I didn't feel. I am a teacher, so I hold my position.
You reminded yourself of that. Right.
So I have to control them. I have to take care of them. That way I started my job.
All right, you were caught off guard, but you managed and you reminded yourself, I'm the teacher and they are the students. Okay, all right. So all 3 of you have taught in co-ed schools.
Yeah.
You've dealt with boys and girls. So we'd like to know, you know, being women, how easy or difficult was it to teach and nurture boys in school?
Shania, we never do consider our students that he is a boy student, she is a girl student. They are just students for
But what
us.
about the kind of, you know, issues that a girl faces and a boy faces, especially when they're growing up, those awkward phases that they go through? There are a lot of changes hormonally, physically, there are lots of changes they're going through. So as a teacher, how different was it to be, you know, dealing with boys at that point?
See what happens, you know, in a co-ed school, it's still easy.
Yeah.
Maybe in a boys' school or girls' school, maybe it's difficult or different. But yes, in a co-ed school, what happens is you have to keep that balance between the girls and boys. When you take the class, there are a lot of things. Boys maybe, the issues are different for boys and girls.
Exactly.
Now, earlier, adolescence used to start in 9 and 10. Now, those issues we are facing in 3, 4 and 5.
Okay.
So, issue starts from 4, 5, 6. Even the physical change in the students and other things starts from 4, 5, 6. So, a lot of things which we used to discuss in 9 and 10, we have started discussing in 5, 6 and 7. So, where you have to keep on talking to them, keep on motivating them. We used to have a lot of counseling sessions for them, like sex education, say for example. Earlier it was in school, sex education meant something should not happen, but with the present scenario, we do have it in school.
Right.
So we have people coming from outside, like we had one workshop at the beginning of the session by Miss Niyati Shah. She came all over from Mumbai to conduct a workshop for the students, where she dealt with the issues which teenagers are facing, maybe boys issues separately, girls issues separately, and then a lot of questions were answered with all of them together.
Okay.
So yes, we have issues, but in co-ed school, it's still easy to manage.
Okay.
Because you always have that balance of boys and girls in the class.
Boys and girls,
yes.
right.
And actually the problem, earlier it was started when they enter the teenage.
Yes.
But it is right now, we have observed that it is starting right from this early childhood to the transitional period to later childhood.
Okay, all right. So I think it would be safe to say that with changing times, it's become very, important that we also change the way we teach. The methods have to be different in schools and classrooms right now. So on that note, viewers, we'll slip into yet another quick break, but lots more coming up. So don't go anywhere. Welcome back, viewers. You're still watching Women's World with me, Sonia. And now, without further ado, let's quickly get back to this interesting conversation that I've been having with three very, very experienced teachers and academicians. So before taking the break, we were talking about how difficult or easy is it for a woman to handle male students. So I think we'd like to know from Ms. Manjula as well, what has your experience been like?
Yes, I do agree with Madam Gita that we do not differentiate between boys and girls.
Right.
Because in our homes also, if we have a son and a daughter, we have to tackle them or handle them equally. Although in our society there's a lot of differences, still there's a lot of differences. We say the boys and girls are equal. Still we do not allow our girls to go out at night. But if boys go, we are not so much worried about it.
Very true.
It's not so.
Yes.
But in school, actually, boys are more comfortable with the lady teachers. More comfortable. They can express their views. Or they can, if they have any problem, they can come to the lady teachers more than gents teachers.
So they're more approachable and they're more
approachable. Yes.
More comfortable with female lady teachers. Okay, that's a very interesting point that we've just gathered from that.
Because the lady teachers can give the motherly affections.
All right. Very true, very true. So I think, we were talking about this earlier as well, that the way a female teacher deals with certain situations is very different from how a male teacher deals with the classroom. So if you can let's just get back to that and get some details on what are these differences that we are talking about. Just some simple situations that maybe you have seen in your day-to-day life.
Between the teaching technique of male and female?
Teaching technique, also the way they handle a particular situation.
No, young kids, they do like young lady teachers.
Right.
I hope you do agree, isn't it?
Very true.
Yes, they do like, I have seen, actually we don't have kindergarten section in our school. Students usually right from class 5 years and above, they do enter school. And we have observed that the young kids, they like beautifully young faces like anything. And that is the source of motivation at times we have seen.
All right.
Yes, they do like. And I cannot tell that they do not like male teachers. When the male teachers are very friendly, they do talk with them like their friends and try to motivate them becoming of their age. Then the male teachers also, we have observed that they are also managing the students like anything like the lady teachers.
Okay.
So it is not, actually we are human beings. We should not differentiate ourselves as male or female, I hope. It is high time to empower our students as students, not as a male student or a female student. It is high time to empower our next generation so that they can lead the future society in the best possible way.
Right, so schools should have a gender-neutral environment and atmosphere.
In our school, we are trying together, all the lady teachers and the male teachers together to empower each and every kid.
Okay.
Providing them good physical education, music, art, along with the yoga, along with the curricular transaction.
Okay, okay.
And we need to say that they are developing balanced personality to lead a very healthy, happy future.
Right. I think every school should take this and they should inculcate it in their schools as well. Okay, so now I'll just get back to my next question. This is something that I observed when I was a student in school or in college, you know. I've seen that some of the people who've emerged as toppers with very high marks, when you just interact with them, you know, you'll see that sometimes they don't even have the basic knowledge, which they should have, taking in mind the kind of marks that they have scored in an examination. So then can we consider marks to be an accurate yardstick to measure a child's intelligence quotient? What would you say?
Very good question, Sonia, you have put forward already. Today, I had an interaction program with the 12 board exam past students, and there I had asked them, what is your future planning?
Right.
Some of them are joining engineering institute, some of them are going to join the medical, some of them have chosen commerce and the other subjects, humanities subjects. And I had requested them to become good human beings. Good human beings. They should think about the hard work, the effort their parents already put into them, isn't it? And they should not forget whatever the school had taught them, right from class 1 to 12. It's a very long journey. And I hope we should try our best to make the young generation to become socially useful, productive human being, not only to run after power, position and money.
Right, very true. And what about Miss Anita, what would you say?
See what happens, yes, the Indian education system is such, you cannot do away with marks. But all the schools have all the right to design their curriculum till class 8 in such a way that the teaching learning process is a joy, where marks should not be criteria to grade a student, to mark a student. You are good, you are average, you are not so good. So what we do in 1 to 5 level is, we have a thematic learning curriculum where a child is allowed to think, because we believe that the thinking process has to be there. Suppose in our school, a class 1 child is given an assignment where he has to draw a giraffe. If the giraffe is looking like a goat also, we are okay with it, because that is child's perception.
Right.
Because if you go and correct, we will definitely be correcting it. But when you go and tell him, this is, you're not supposed to do it this way, this is wrong. So for us, there's nothing wrong or right. That is how we do it. Because we are a day boarding school, a lot of things is possible for us to do. So we do a lot of work with the students where it's not getting a A grade or getting a C grade should matter. So that is what all the schools can do basically, because till class 8 level marks are not so important. But yes, when you talk about boards, our education system is such that marks are important.
Right.
So what we do in our school is, sorry to interrupt ma'am, till class 8 we have an open curriculum where we do a lot of work with the kids.
Right.
But yes, 9, 10, 11, 12 we have to follow the syllabus. So there is some policy, so we'll have to follow, so we follow.
And what about Ms. Manjula? What would you like to say? Are marks really that important to decide which student is bright and who is not?
At present time, definitely marks is important.
Right.
Because our education system is that, as Ms. Anita said. Still, in olden days or in previous years, suppose we were totally dependent upon that the performance of the children by giving grades or marks, etc. But presently, teachers have to think about everything of the children, all round development of the children. So I think if a teacher devote in all the fields about all round development of the child, no child can score without knowing anything. He cannot score. It is not possible.
Right.
He must have the conception.
Now, one thing I would like to tell here, sorry, actually,
yes.
If a student is hardworking and motivated towards learning and learns things through self-study, marks success will be compelled to follow. We are not supposed to worry about marks.
Right.
If a person, if we can build up the students, the present generation, to become disciplined and organized.
Yeah, mainly.
And motivate them towards studying themselves for acquirement of of knowledge, not of gathering marks.
Yeah.
The school examination should not be a process of gathering marks. Isn't it? School education is for acquirement of knowledge. And I do consider if we can make them disciplined, organized, hardworking, truthful,
Mainly
and self-motivated.
Responsible.
Yes, self-motivated.
Responsible. They
Yes,
must be
responsible.
responsible.
Yes.
Our duty is to teach them to be responsible.
Yes, social responsibility.
Without knowing, responsible in all the factors, in their homes, in their studies, in their school, in the society, everywhere.
Right.
That is our first right. We have to make the children responsible. And without conception, I think no child can get good marks.
Actually, marks and success will be compelled to follow.
Marks. Yeah.
It will be compelled to follow.
If I can add to it, what happens, Sonia? There are a lot of careers nowadays. Lot of careers. And since we are the only ICSE school in Guwahati, I just want to mention, we have a system where a child is not very good in maths, can leave maths in class 9, can leave science as well.
Okay.
So you can take up EVS, you can take up mass communication in class, you can take up art, dance, lot of other options you have.
Right.
So if you're not pursuing a career, suppose you don't want to do engineering or medical, and you feel that science is something which I will not be able to manage, so you don't have to force yourself towards that subject.
Right.
So you can always leave in class 9. We have a lot of other careers. So where they do very good in boards, where without science and maths. So they have EVA, so they pursue their career in that field. They have mass communication, they pursue their career in that field.
They start specializing from a very early age in the field of interest. So again, that will bring me to my next question, that like you've already mentioned, that certain students, are good in different fields. They have different areas of interest. Some enjoy dancing, some enjoy singing. But again, unfortunately, the reality is that these facilities are not available in most of the schools. Very few have it. So then, can we say that this kind of education, this quality education that we are talking about, where a child enjoys learning, is only available for a certain section of the society then?
A very good question, Shania. And Anita had already offered her opinion. Anyway, this is a very good suggestion, but for this, a very serious type of thought will have to be
put.
Yes, yes. And the responsibility is not on us at this point of time. Different boards are there, the SRD ministry is there, and isn't it? It's a very difficult thing and very difficult question also, because as per CBSE norms, whatever the content in the name of different subjects are being taught, these are the basic concepts to lead a very good life as a citizen of this particular country, India.
Right. Right. But then from my personal experience, I've seen, there were certain things that I struggled to learn in class 10, especially when it came to mathematics. A lot of things that I struggled, and I was never good at maths. And now when I look back and looking at the kind of field I've taken up, I don't need it much anymore.
Yes.
So are we really providing education to children that they will need somewhere in the future? Is that...
It is not necessary.
Not necessary.
Not necessary. But our Indian education system is like that.
Right.
Yes.
Compulsorily you have to take some subjects at least up to class 10. That is the problem.
That is a problem.
Yeah, that is the problem.
Looking at how things are changing in certain schools, like we've seen you do it in the Gurukul school as well. You've seen that children can choose which subjects they want to take. And you've come from Kendra Vidyalaya, ma'am, so you've seen a completely different situation.
Yeah.
Right. So
it's not that people are not discussing and nothing is happening. Education system, it's changing. If you see 10 years down the line, and if you compare with the present scenario, it's not the same. So it's changing. It's taking its own time.
Right.
So we as an educators, whatever we can do at our level, we should do it in school.
Right.
And rest is, let's see. Let's hope for the best.
Subjects like maths and science, suppose in CBSE they are compulsory.
Yes.
Most of the students are weak in those subjects.
No, they may be weak, but this amount of knowledge of science and mathematics are helping them.
Helping them.
Sonia, you cannot say that the mathematics you have learned up till class 10 is not helping you. It's helping you, dear. The amount of knowledge you have acquired through studying this particular subject, science, is helping you. And when you will
So,
become a mother, okay, then you will come to know that to teach your kid the basic things, these are must, the knowledge of this particular subjects a must.
But then again, it brings us to this whole cycle, you know, that we'll have to know it because our children can't avoid it in the future, so we'll have to learn it for that.
Yeah.
So, but then if we can bring a proper change, a concrete change to the education system, perhaps we will not have this problem in the future.
It will happen. It will happen. Change will happen.
Right.
It's taking its own time, but change will definitely happen.
Change is
because
taking place already.
every council, maybe CBSE, maybe ICSE, a lot of changes are coming up.
Right.
Like I said, our council, they've started with thematic last year.
Yeah.
They'll be doing a lot of other things, like they have different options in class 9. So a lot of things are happening.
And
but
slowly,
yes, the pace is slow,
yeah,
but it's not
slowly
that nothing
but
is
surely.
changing.
Okay,
Yes.
we are having changes.
Yes.
Slowly,
Yes.
but it's happening. All right,
But-
so I'd just like to come to my next question, ma'am. Considering that we have time restrictions, there are lots of things that I'd like to ask. So, you know, this is a new trend that I've noticed in the new, you know, the Gen X families, that right from a very young age, the child might be in class 1 or might be in class 2, and they already put him in tuitions. You know, so why do you think this new trend has come in? Is what the child learning in school not enough anymore, or is this just a false perception that the parents are developing? What would your take be on this?
See, no school, I don't think any school would ask their kids to go for tuitions.
Right.
It's for the parents to decide. It's for the parents to decide. We always say in our school, in all the meetings, all the seminars, whenever we meet parents, that no to tuitions.
Right.
Because tuitions are something where a child is again confused. He's doing something else in school, or he or she is doing something else in the tuition. So which is, sometimes some parents, they feel that being working parents, it becomes easy sometimes. I'm also a working parent, but still people sometimes feel that, okay, let my child be there for 2 hours for tuition so that I don't have to sit with my child. But this is completely on the parents. I don't think any school is asking any child to go for tuitions.
Right. And what about Ms. Manjula? What would your take be on this as a parent as well? You know, why are we putting our children?
Frankly speaking, I didn't send my children for tuition up to class 10th.
Okay.
I myself did not teach each and every subject. Even then I gave them the foundation and they studied themselves. But presently parents cannot devote that much time. That is one problem. And whatever I seen in case of my grandchildren, in school they just teach the syllabus. I don't know. I am not supposed to say about any of the educational institutions being a teacher. In everywhere it is happening. Suppose today some words are taught, they will take the test in the next week.
Right.
But whether the children have learnt or not, it does not matter to the teacher.
As long as the syllabus is over.
Yeah.
So do you think that the schools are becoming very commercial? Do you think that is happening?
It happens.
Where people are becoming very mechanical and just, okay, finish the syllabus quickly.
You just see, Sonia.
So we are not.
Yes, we cannot change.
As a school, I can assure about my school.
Yes.
But to comment on any other school, it's
we cannot comment.
Yeah.
But in our school, we do not pressurize our parents or students to go for any tuition or any harsh method. Actually, up till class 3-4, the students should be given proper education about the moral values and personal hygiene. And the family and the school should work together to develop the habit of doing all the things in the most disciplined way. If we can inculcate all these things from the tender age, the students will become more responsible ones when they will get promoted to the higher classes. But certain things, it's true that the principals cannot change the scenario.
And
we even in our school, like Anita, in our school also, we even ask the class 10, 11, 12 parents also to allow them to study themselves, because the course is meant for their age only. It is not made for 20, 22 years old. The 9-10 course is for 15, 16 years. 11, 12 course is for 17, 18 years. And it is that books are being published by NCERT for CBSE. And NCERT also prepares the book after lots of research work. They do have schools, and after doing research work only, they do include different lessons.
Right. So I understand that tuition is very important when maybe you're in class 10 or 11 or 12. Maybe we do require some additional help which we can't get in school, considering the hours are for about 8 hours or so. But I was talking about the younger children, at the age of, when you're in class 1 or class 2. And a very important point that Ms. Anita brought out is that because the parents are working in this day and age and they can't devote as much time as maybe your parents could to you, so now maybe to strike that balance, they put their children in tuitions.
Yes, see, Sonia, sometimes what happens is insecurity of the parent also.
Right.
See, for us, a child is getting A grade or C grade hardly matters. But for the parent, how much it matters, it's for the parents to decide. Because as many cases we have seen in school, it's just the insecurity of the parents. Why my child is not getting an A grade? Your child may be good in drawing, your child may be good in English, your child may not be good in science. So, but it's just the pressure from the parent side.
Right.
So there's nothing which we can do. Maybe you can have a forum of a parent
someday and ask, it has to go hand
the same
in hand.
question. Yes.
Actually, we being a teacher, we had enough time to look after that. That's why I told that teaching is a family-friendly
profession. Right.
Because we had enough time, we can devote with our children. But my children cannot. But my children do not have. They have to work up to 10 p.m. at night. Then how can they take care of their children? Like ours, no? That is another problem.
Right. So, Ms. Anita, I think you want to
add. See, with modern parenting, as a parent, it's in all nuclear families. Most of the families are nuclear families. So, it's not that parents are not giving time to their kids. They do give time to their kids. Like both of us are working, myself and my husband, both of us are working. So, we make sure that we give quality time to our child, whatever way we can. So, every family must be doing that because child is your priority. Earlier, people used to have 4 or 5 kids at home. Now you have a maximum of 2 child at home. So yes, parents are spending quality time with the child. We try and find ways where we can be with our child. So it's not that modern parenting is something where people are not giving time to their kids. They are also concerned, equally concerned.
Yeah. But I think just the method of parenting is changing.
Yes, changing.
And one more thing I want to say, actually, not only the grades. If they do not learn the word, how can they skip to the next word?
Yes,
that is what I am telling. I am not telling about.
So you have to have a basic idea.
Tuition. I also discouraged tuition. Up to class 10, I told students, if you are in my class, no need to go for any tuition. I told so. But then what to do? If they do not learn, suppose a particular word bat, how can they go for another word?
Right.
That's
but one thing, ma'am, we do not consider that this 5-6 years old, we are asking them to learn something abstract. All the alphabets are abstract things
for them. Yes, very true.
Abstract. The digits, everything is abstract for them, but we do not realize the pain of this 5-6 years old.
So I think there are so many more things that we'd like to talk about, but unfortunately we have time restrictions like I've mentioned earlier, and so we'll have to have a part 2 perhaps of this episode as well. Surely in the days to come we will have you guys on the show once again, but again I'd like to thank you for joining us on Women's World, taking out time from your busy schedule, from your family life as well. You've joined us, so once again thank you. I'm sure our viewers learned so much. And like they've said, that there are so many changes that we'd like to see in our education system, but it cannot be a one-sided matter. We need cooperation coming in from the families, the teachers, and also a higher authority. So I hope this was useful for you viewers. I learned a lot, and I'm sure you did as well. But we'll be back with a fresh episode of Women's World next Tuesday. But until then, keep watching Northeast Live for more news and latest updates. Thanks so much for joining us.